Well, hello everyone. I am Michael Gerard, and I'm here with Today. Just here with another tidbit, in this case, a little bit about midpoint synastry and transits. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with midpoints are exactly what they sound like. They're the middle point between two places on a chart. It could be a midheaven, could be two planets. And one example here would be if you had Jupiter at 20 degrees Taurus, let's say in your natal chart, and your Venus was at 20 degrees of Gemini, then the midpoint between those two places would be 5 degrees Gemini. And that would be some kind of sensitive point between the two energies of those two planets. Now, the midpoint can be activated either by transit or by synastry. And the example that I'm going to have is a personal one that happened to me a couple of months ago. Oh, here's a synastry chart between myself. I'm the one in blue, and someone else in the outer chart here in red. Now, what was happening at the time is that Mars, with this thick red line, was right here in my seventh house. Now, some of you might be wondering, well, Michael, you would expect that maybe at this point you were going to be having trouble with somebody else because Mars was in your seventh house. And note that the other person's moon is in Aquarius. But that wasn't quite enough for me, even with it like relatively close to my descendant. What I found from personal experience is that when Mars it starts separating almost immediately, about 40% of that energy dissipates. So you still might have some of that left over, but Mars was pretty well and clear by over a degree. So I didn't think I was in too much of a trouble to have a conversation with somebody about a matter that I wanted to discuss with them. But what you'll notice here is that there's some other interesting stuff going on with the synastry. Their Chiron is on my sun. My Chiron is square their sun. And the if you get really into the composites and stuff like that, you'll notice that our composite Mars is actually square my ascendant. So there's already some potential for conflict here. But what was interesting to me is that when this conflict actually happened, my Mars shouldn't have been in too bad of a condition because it's sextile my natal Mars, and it's already well past my natal Chiron, and I wasn't expecting too much of a problem here again because I it's past my descendant by about a degree and a half. But what actually happened and what I should have known better is that if you'll notice over here, this person's Sun and Saturn form a midpoint right at 13 degrees of Leo. So what happened is I wound up showing up as the martial person who was a little heated, but I was respectful, of course. But it went right against, the Saturn, which is authority, and Sun, which is their identity. And I wound up coming in as a person who was conflicting against both of those. So I probably should have found another time to do it, but hindsight is 2020. So, anyway, just to remember some takeaways here that midpoints can be active even when a planet isn't directly activated. So this really reminded me to take note of midpoints if I'm going to be scheduling something where I have at least a little bit of synastry known in advance or whatever the case may be. And always remember, of course, that you can show up as someone else's natal transit. So, one last thing is if you want to learn more about midpoints, I do recommend Michael Mukasey's book on them from, I want to say, the 70s or 80s. It's still pretty good. If you can find that at a used bookstore, it's pretty good. There's also the book by Reinhold Eberton. Uh, I'm trying to remember his name, but I can't right now. It's the Stellar Influences book. Anyway, you can Google those and you'll get close to it. Um, anyway, so that again was mentioned by Chris Brennan in his recent astrology podcast episode on the history of midpoints, and of course, that's all. Chris always has a really great introduction to any topic that you're interested in. But you will find this in Uranian astrology as well. So look at that. So anyway, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day and keep looking to the stars. And I will stop.